Hi everyone, Heidi Smith here. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in the United Kingdom, and today we're using up the woven Heirlooms stamp set along with the soon to be retired paper. Now this is beautiful paper that has all of the current or the carrying forward in colours, so you know you're going to be able to get the card and the ink to coordinate with this for the next 12 months. So it's well worth getting some of this and stocking up on it at the moment. But although the stamp set and the inks are going to be available going forward, the papers won't. And as I say, on one side you've got lovely kind of vintage patterns, and on the reverse you've got some lovely solid colours, as you can see here, along with some patterns. So everything from a lovely terracotta tile, pretty peacock, seaside spray, the lovely rococo rose, purple posy, there's the terracotta tile solid, and then this lovely print here which is kind of got the rococo rose and terracotta tile, and then again some more pretty peacock, and then finally some grey granite, I think that one was. So lovely paper, but this is a super card to really use up some of those slightly bigger pieces. And I also wanted to so here we go, here's the card, and as you can see, lovely piece. It's a square card. I don't very often do square cards, but I just thought this one suited it rather well. And I'm going to use a little bit of the in colour DSP. So again, the colours are staying but the papers are going. So if you love this lovely scripty font, I'm going to use that with it, and that goes so well with this vintage style that I thought it was a great way to combine it. And it just shows you don't have to use all of your sort of specialty pattern DSP. You can use some of the in colour ones to coordinate with it as well. So let's get started. I'm using again the in colours, and I'm going to use some of the purple posy card on the next one. So I have pre-cut everything, but I'm going to do the scoring with you. So hopefully you can come join along with me. And I've put the measurements in inches, so I'll try those again, see how that goes for everybody, and away we go. So starting off, you need a piece of card that's 28 by 14 centimetres, so that's 11 by 5.5 inches, and you're going to score this at 7 and 14 centimetres. So right here. So again, remember, you're keeping your cutting blade out of the way so we don't get tempted to use that. 7 and 14 centimetres. And then you're going to cut a piece of Whisper White, which is 23 by 9.5 centimetres, 9.25 by 3 3/4. And you're going to score that in exactly the same way. So again, 7 and 14. So again, that's in inches, 2 3/4 and 5.5 inches. So that's all the scoring. So although, you know, this looks like a complicated fold, it really isn't. What I would recommend though is that you get yourself a bone folder. If you haven't got one already, well worth getting, because it just makes your cards go together so much better. So you're going to fold and reinforce those score lines. So where we've scored, we're folding away from that. And even though we're zigzagging it, once we've folded away, we can then fold it back. And that's because we've already, in effect, stretched the fibres of the card. So there's our basic Z fold. We're going to do the same with our Whisper White. So again, taking those score lines and creasing. And then this square panel is the front. So you end up with this zigzag with the shorter panel on the right. So now we come to layering up our, doing our stamping. That would be a good place to start, wouldn't it? So what I've done is I'm going to use the Wishing You a Day of Love and Joy, which is this one here, which I popped on my block already. I'm probably going to use the little accent pieces as well. So let's... Okay, right then, so let's grab my piece of So this is all the stamping we're doing. So you need, for the front panel, you're going to need a piece that's 7 by 7 to go on the front there, which is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Now, because I'm using the Seaside spray, I'm actually going to use the Pretty Peacock ink to act as a contrast. Seaside spray is a really delicate colour, and I wanted something that's going to stand out just that little bit more. So wishing you a day of love and joy. Use your grid paper to help line up sort of the centre of that. This is where, hopefully, I have managed to stamp reasonably straight on camera. And then just pop these little corner flourishes on. My other one had a couple of pearls because I put an inky fingerprint on. Always a danger when you're working with a darkish colour. That's exactly the sort of thing I do. I might just add just a little border around there. Okay, I think that's enough. So there's our panel. Now obviously if you wanted to add pearls on any way you could, that would be fine. So now we want to start layering up. So let's pop our ink out of the way. And what I've got next, so is, well, let's pop that panel to one side and let's start decorating our card base. So for the back here, I've got a piece that's 13.5 by 13.5 centimetres. So I'm not adding any extra card onto that. I don't think it needs it, but also, you know, it adds to the bulk of the card, which when you're doing a zigzag will just make it a little bit more difficult. So just pop that square on there. So 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 inches, and obviously this makes a card that's 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. I've got another piece of the same DSP for the front, which is 6 1/2 by 13.5 centimetres, which is 2 1/2 by 5 1/4. And I'm just using my snail here. Now there is some new glue coming out, which is it's called Stampin' Seal, and the Stampin' Seal is really good because it's actually got more adhesive per sort of millimetre than the snail. And there's a new one as well, which I can't remember what the name is, but that's a stronger one. It's a bit like our old, which I've still got. Look at how much of a hoarder. Fast fuse. There's a new version coming out as well. So there's our card base with our pattern paper on. Now we can move on to our inner piece. So I've got a piece for this back panel, which is 6 1/2 by 9 centimetres, and I've just used the Seaside spray here, and that's a 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches. No, 2 1/2 by 3 1/2 inches. That's why I only do one set of measurements. I've then got my DSP, which is 6 by 8 1/2 centimetres, which is 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches. And that's this lovely scripty font from the In Colour 6 by 6 inch DSP stack. Now for the front, I've got a 9 by 9 centimetre piece of card, which is 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. And again, it's just better to get all of these layers on while your card is nice and flat before you attach it. And then the final piece of DSP is 8 1/2 by 8 1/2 centimetres, which is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And this is probably the one I love most. It's really pretty. I did a lovely pop-up card using the cake pop-up, which is also retiring. You need to get that if you wanted that. And it looked lovely because it kind of reminded me of tablecloths. But lovely kind of damask print tablecloths. So there's our zigzag, and there's our other zigzag. Now obviously our panel to go on the front here, we can obviously lift that up on dimensionals if we want. And actually looking at that, because it's the darker ink, what I'm actually going to do is just ink around the edges of that. kind of with a really narrow border. There we go. I think that's just going to make that pop a little bit more. And I think adding it up on some dimensionals will just finish it off a little bit as well. Okay, so let's grab my dimensionals. The beauty of dimensionals, obviously 2 different sizes. These are standard dimensionals. So I'm just going to pop those. Probably a little bit of overkill on the dimensionals. You know you're crafting when you find dimensionals all over the house. And pop that, yes, that's, I think that's a little bit of pretty peacock just on the edges there. Has just lifted that slightly. So this now goes together like so. So it is up to you which way you want to do it. I personally find centre it first, so make sure that's nice and square, and I'm then going to add some glue. I'm actually going to use my stronger glue just on the outer edge here, and I'm now going to fold that into place. Then I'm going to open it up, then add fuse, which is playing up. I'm so glad we're going to get something that is strong. The only reason I'm using a strong glue on this, and you could use tape if you wanted, is because I feel it, you know, it's a mechanism, so it needs a bit of extra oomph. And then just press that into place. And there you have a pair of gorgeous woven threads, double Z fold cards that fold flat and fit in a standard 5.5, 6 inch by 6 inch square envelope. I hope you enjoyed making those along with me. If you'd like to purchase any of the products, pop along to my shop, heidismith.stampinup.net, or if you go to my blog, you'll find the links there to all the products I've used today. And if you can't find anything, just give me a shout. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again soon, and please subscribe to my channel. Take care. Bye now.